stuff. Welcome to the 145th episode of the Korea podcast. I'm your host Jack, located in Ulsan, South Korea. This is today is the 10th of January. A dusty day we've had today. The Korea podcast is a podcast on which I talk about anything and everything related to living and working in South Korea and the surrounding regions as well. The podcast is sponsored by Shane English Schools. If you are located here in South Korea and are interested in starting and operating your own language school, and then give me a buzz, feel free to contact me at any time, so that we can discuss your possible start in the business. Just chicken sounds okay. Shane Language Schools has a 40-year-old history. It's a turnkey business. Basically, we've got the whole curriculum set up, ready to go for you. If that is something of interest, and like I said, feel free to contact me either through here by leaving a message, or better yet, directly through email or through Facebook. Dig me up there on Shane English Korea, or through any of the groups, or just find me on Facebook as well. All right, what's going on here with this? There's lots to go over today, lots to talk about today, so let's jump straight into it. On today's topic, what do we got here on today's topic? Let me just remove some of this stuff here to clear up my view. I guess we got to start off with the usual. Let's start off with our beautiful segment of failed parking in South Korea. This beaut, one of mine, this person parked like right on the corner, which means that they're sticking out here, blocking the exit from this street and passing and possible turning into the street. Not only that, they're parked on the red line, which is indicative of the fact that there's a fire hydrant right here. And so they're blocking like the exit and the entrance out and into the street here, and also access to the fire hydrant, and this is located right in front of the village office, which is just disgusting. This wisecracker is just too funny, parked like on the opposite side of the street, because why the heck not, clearly. These guys lined up neatly. I don't know, just no idea. This is Starbucks, I guess. This kind of looks like, no, this is not Ulsan. I mean, this looks like any place in South Korea where I could look, potentially. But yeah, blocking the entire sidewalk and everything else. And this beauty, I don't know. I figured I'm going to include it here because the supply of pictures of failed parking pictures is kind of dry. So I figured I'm going to include this one as well, because it seems like, well, failed parking carries over not only into cars but also into other areas of life, and probably through generations. You know, these are like younger people who just manage to not care, and you know, it starts early. They park any bloody where they please, and it continues on into adulthood with these charade shenanigans of failed parking. Horrible. Alrighty, so what do we got here? Air pollution. Air pollution is nasty. You know, with all the with all the talk of pandemics and whatnot, it's almost you'd almost forget about the pollution, the air pollution that Korea has been struggling for. Korea's had a love-hate relationship with air dust particles for many years. One of the reasons for why we were planning on leaving South Korea is precisely that, actually. Air pollution, and that's kind of been shoved under the carpet over the past couple of years. Hardly anybody, you know, I don't really hear anybody talking about air pollution anymore. You don't really hear it on the news so much. And although there have been times during which my phone alerts go off, the air pollution indicators come up as red, but you know, the obvious things take precedence. So on the news, there's always been talk about the pandemic and not so much air pollution. And right now, surprisingly, there is very little talk about the pandemic, but air pollution. Korea sounded the first pollution emergency alarm of 2022 on Sunday as ultra-fine dust levels in Seoul surged for 4 or 5 times of normal levels, more than 100 joule something per hour. The National Institute of Environmental Research said stagnant air has caused fine dust to linger and accumulate over the weekend, raising pollution levels and continuing to affect the air quality on Monday. Yeah, it started on Sunday and continued all the way into Monday. So yeah, don't worry about Corona, man. If Corona doesn't kill you, then the air pollution will kill you here in South Korea. That's what's happening, yo. North Korea says won't attend Beijing Olympics, blames COVID-19 and hostile forces. Yeah. Yeah, surprisingly, there's been very little info on. I was scouring through the news reports, Korea Herald and Joseon Ilbo in the Korea Times, and there's very few articles about COVID. Surprisingly, for the past 2 years, you saw a bombardment of things, but today there was nothing. I mean, not nothing, but very little. In a letter to China, North Korea blamed hostile forces and COVID-19 risks for not being able to attend the upcoming Winter Olympics in Beijing and accused the United States of trying to prevent the game's success, state media said on Friday. Oh well, so North Korea is not coming to the Beijing Olympics. I wonder who else is not coming. I don't know. People seem to have forgotten where the virus came from. Or is that not something that we can talk about anymore, huh? Because it's not from there. It's now who knows from where. But not from there, not from China. Problems here in South Korea. Vaccine passes at large retailers criticized for lacking scientific grounds. So apparently Korea is hardcore, hell-bent on introducing these vaccine passes to every single business, and it's carrying over into larger businesses, which is problematic to these larger businesses. Criticism is mounting over the COVID-19 vaccine pass mandate for large supermarkets, discount outlets, and department stores, which came into effect from Monday, with critics calling on the government to justify the scientific grounds for implementing the new measure. The vaccine pass system, which requires either proof of vaccination or a negative PCR test result to be presented to enter multi-use facilities, has been expanded to shopping malls, retail outlets, department stores, and bookstores measuring 3,000 square meters or more in floor space. But criticism is escalating over the system among people who find it unscientific and excessive. According to government data, 427 and 327 infections occurred at large retail stores and department stores in 2021 respectively, whereas 7,491 cases were linked to churches. But religious facilities still remain excluded from the vaccine pass since it was introduced on December 6th. Yeah, when you look at these numbers, that's kind of backwards. Businesses that reported very low numbers in cases need to have passports. Vaccine passports now introduced if you want to get into them. But the places that were linked to massive outbreaks of the virus are not required to have these regulations in place. Makes sense, for very little sense. Omicron cases in Seoul more than double to 456 from week ago. Infections from the Omicron variant of COVID-19 had more than doubled to 456 in Seoul Monday from last week's 183, according to the city government. So everybody keeps saying that the Omicron is a lot more infectious, but possibly carries lower risks of severe illness, which is good, I guess. But Omicron is highly likely to become the most prevalent COVID-19 variant in the city by late month or February, a disease control official said. Seoul, meanwhile, saw its average number of daily coronavirus infections decline from 1,533 to 1,077. So that's good, right? Things are dropping. But people are freaking out because it's new. Daily infections below 4,000 for fourth day amid tightened distancing rules. Daily COVID-19 infections stayed below 4,000 for the fourth straight day Monday, here amid tightened distancing rules to curb the spread of the coronavirus. The Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency reported 3,007 new cases, including 2,768 local ones, raising the total caseload to 667,000. Not bad. South Korea also recorded 34 more deaths, raising the total to 6,000 for a fatality rate of 0.91%. The number of critically ill COVID-19 patients stood at 786, staying below 1,000 for the seventh consecutive day. So the numbers are not looking too horrible right now, despite the new outbreak of Omicron and the new spread. And here's a no jab, no job. Citigroup to fire unvaccinated staff this month. That's crazy. Basically, Citigroup is taking things even further by booting people who have not been vaccinated. Man, I don't know, it feels like a little bit much. Because the vaccine passport, it's almost like it's become a bloody membership pass, you know? Like, I personally don't care. I don't need to get a vaccine in order to go to restaurants. I think it's kind of ridiculous that this is how far it's going. Citigroup staff in the United States who have not been vaccinated against COVID-19 by January 14th will be placed on unpaid leave and fired at the end of the month unless they are granted an exemption, according to a company memo seen by Reuters Friday. The US bank announced its plan to improve new vaccination rules in October and now becomes the first major Wall Street institution to follow through with a strict vaccine mandate. The Citigroup, I think Citibank is shutting down in South Korea anyway. So I'm not exactly sure how that affects Korea. So the last thing I read was there were no buyers for the Citibank in South Korea, so bye-bye Citigroup. Feel sorry for the people who have to deal with that crap. South Korea's Moon pledges final push for peace with North. A little bit of news for on the political side here. Securing peace with the North has been a key goal of Moon's term in office, which comes to an end in May. And so they're still pushing. There's a lot of stuff going on that topic. South Korea ranks 9th in defense tech, but needs intensive R&D, research and development in space weapons. The idea of like spending billions and billions of dollars on the arms race is still bizarre. It's like the Cold War that isn't spoken of. It's not really called the Cold War, but it still feels like it. Every time I read an article about how a country needs to invest billions of dollars into development of weapons of this and that caliber, it always makes me wonder why. What is the purpose of this? Like why are we still as a society, as a nation, not nation, as a society, why are we still in a position of having to develop weapons of any kind? Why are we still here? I just don't get it. It boggles my mind. But South Korea apparently ranks 9th in the world in defense technology. By the country needs intensive and strategic investment in the research and development of space weapons. And the only reason why this is happening is because it's being pushed upon the world by the by the industry, by the weapons industry. That's because it's, you know, wars are huge money-making machines, and so the more people die, the more machines are developed, the more guns are shot, the more money flows on discs of these massive freaking weapons producers, manufacturers. There's no other reason. But yeah, so apparently that's a problem now too. Can South Korea pay enlisted soldiers 2 million won a month? This is on the table. Apparently Mr. Moon was talking about paying 1 million won per soldier, and the presidential candidates vow improved wages for mandatory service members targeting young voters. So these government officials are trying to garner votes from young generations now, right? First was the turn towards crypto. They pushed back the bill on crypto, the taxation on crypto. Now they're looking to pay. Well, that's probably going to be one of the things that's going to be talking about for the elections, and of course, you know, they'll make promises they cannot keep because it's going to turn out that it's actually not doable. Presidential nominee, man, I don't have any water here. What a stupid move of mine, I forgot to bring water. Presidential nominee Yoon Suk-yeol on the main opposition People Power Party vowed to raise the wage of enlisted soldiers to 2 million won a month following the vows of his rival Lee Jae-myung of the ruling Democratic Party made weeks earlier. So apparently right now, I guess, so for those who are not aware, soldiers in Korea make peanuts. They make something like $60, I don't know, every quarter, every 3 months or something like that, or maybe $100, but whatever it is, it's minuscule. Back home in Canada, I don't know, it's about $2,000, I guess, or depending on your rank or whatever. But I guess when you enlist, it's somewhere within the vicinity of $2,000. And so I think they're trying to do the same thing here in South Korea, something similar in any case. Yoon said in a Facebook post Saturday that he will seek to drastically improve the wages and working conditions for conscripted soldiers in South Korea by raising their monthly salary from the current 676 won for sergeants to 2 million won during his term. So apparently sergeants received 676 won a year annually. Soldiers, I don't think soldiers prior, what is it? I'm not clued in on the ranks and all that stuff, but when the individuals have no choice but to sacrifice for the sake of national security, it is the basic role of the state to properly design an appropriate compensatory measures for that sacrifice. So there's 300,000 soldiers enlisted, and they're hoping I guess the budget is going to make up 13.2% of the defense ministry's budget for 2022. I think it's a doable number. They could totally spend it and pay these boys some money so that most of the young men in Korea who have to face military service mandatorily don't feel like they're wasting their time, because that was my perception from talking to a lot of university students. I've taught university here in South Korea for about 7 years, and the majority of Korean men young Korean men who have to do military service here unilaterally almost said that military is a waste of time. Not only that, a huge portion of them said that the things that they were hoping to learn, like they were hoping to gain skills by working or by being in the military, right? Because I guess you get a choice of what you can do, what you want to do occasionally, like whether you wanted to work with heavy machinery or operate tanks or whatever else. A big chunk of these guys never got to do any of that stuff. They never got to learn any of the skills that they were hoping to learn, and they ended up spending whatever 2 years or plus or minus, and almost like 95% or more of them said that it was a waste of time, while women were able to go and use those 2 years for their own personal development, either to go to university or pursue jobs or whatever careers. The men were left behind, having to join the military without any pay or without any compensation. So I hope that this works out for them, that this will be implemented, to be honest. I'm not for military. I mean, I'm all for the dissolution of military forces anywhere across the globe, but if it must be here, then I think compensation should be done. Shinsegae shares plunge on vice chief's anti-communist remarks. So apparently this dude made some anti-communist remarks and the shares of Shinsegae plummeted. And my initial response was, wow, there's a lot of communists in Korea. But then I read on, and basically Shinsegae sells a lot of its cosmetic products in China. What is it? So Shinsegae Group owns department store supermarket chain Emart and operates Starbucks in the country. And here Vidivici, wherever the heck it is, not international cosmetics brand. They enjoyed popularity in China. So there's a lot of business in China, I guess, that they're having, and this guy was talking crap about communists, about the commies, and that didn't sit well. So he's in hot soup right now. Oh no. Korea Shipbuilding wins over order worth 1.3 trillion won, which is huge. So that's $1.1 billion worth of shipbuilding ship orders that are coming to South Korea. And of course, shipbuilding is mainly done, well, a huge chunk of it is done in Ulsan in Bangojin, so that's good. A lot of it is in Gojedo, different parts, but I think the main hull and all that stuff is put together here in Ulsan. So lots of lots of money coming down to Ulsan. We may be seeing a lot of new engineers flocking back to the city, and the economy picking up again. So that's good. That's good for Ulsan. Good news for Ulsan. Shitty news for everybody who drinks coffee at Starbucks to raise prices for first time in almost 8 years. Starbucks will raise its beverage prices in Korea from Thursday due to soaring coffee bean and logistics costs. The company said that prices of 46 of its 53 drinks will be raised by 101 to 401. The price for a tall size Americano will be 5,400, up 401. I personally don't drink. If you're a Starbucks drinker, my question is why? Why would you want to spend a fortune on Starbucks when you could get equally good coffee anywhere else? Alex International to bring in 1,100 tons of urea from China this week, so that's good. This is the stuff that diesel cars use to function. I guess it minimizes pollution and stuff. And apparently we've been experiencing some shortages here in South Korea, so that's going to be semi-resolved. I don't know how much good this will do. I guess it'll help trucks and stuff. The shipment, the first batch from an import contract with China for 10,000 tons of urea will arrive in the southern part of city of Busan on Tuesday. Woohoo, that's tomorrow, yeah? Fantastic. So some of these congestions are going to be cleared up. Fantastic. Single-use plastic cups to be banned again. I had no idea that they were banned and then unbanned and then banned again. What do you mean? Why were they unbanned to begin with? I remember, what was it, 2 years ago they were banned and they ended up being unbanned. Now they're banned again. Okay. You guys following Squid Game? This dude apparently won the Golden Globe. I don't follow the Golden Globes, but on a world stage, he takes a Golden Globe award for the best supporting actor. Funny thing is, I don't know if you're familiar with the candy. All the kids keep calling it what is it? The Squid Game candy. What's funny is dalcoma, I think, or dalcoma. It's a candy made of brown sugar and baking soda, basically. Brown sugar is melted over a fire, baking soda is added, and then you dump it out and it hardens, and you can form it, and you've got yourself a little candy. Quite good, but I mean, this stuff was around, years before Squid Game came around, and apparently now Squid Game popularized it amongst all the younger generation, and now all of a sudden it's called the Squid Game candy. All my kids are calling it the Squid Game candy. Funny. Central bank likely to raise key rate My goodness, look at that. None of it was visible. Central bank likely to raise key rate this week to tame inflation. All these articles. None of it was visible. Hiya. Central bank likely to raise key rate this week to tame inflation. This is part of I guess the crypto thing. This is why prices were rising. Everybody's taking out money and trying to repay their interest rates and stuff. But that's what's happening as well. Footage of unhygienic processing of dried squid churns stomachs. Look at that. These ladies are just trampling all over squid. So if you're a dry squid lover, man, just keep an eye on that. I don't know what company that is. The clip posted on TikTok by a foreign employee, shows workers in white rubber shoes moving back and forth, stepping on dried squid, supposedly to flatten them out. Yucky. Not great, man. Not great. Dry your own squid. That's the best solution. Edison Motors seals SsangYong takeover deal. SsangYong, or if you're not familiar with these guys, I guess the company was going broke, bankrupt. And SsangYong Motors looks to have finally found a new owner as the bankrupt carmaker reached an investment agreement deal with its preferred bidder, Edison Motors. I've never heard of Edison Motors. I had to look them up. And apparently Edison Motors is a company that's located in South Korea, and it's focused on creating zero emission cars. I guess the first ones that they're building, or I don't know if they actually made it or not, were buses. There's some that are cruising around the city, different areas of the country, I guess. But it is a Korean company that's located somewhere. Yongsangnam-do. And apparently it was built in order to compete with Tesla's Elon Musk's Tesla Motors, and it's striving to become a global economic electric vehicle company since the launch. Edison Motors Co. was acquired from TGM with a determination to overtake Tesla Motors as and is striving to become a global electric vehicle company. It's funny because you've got, again, Edison competing against Tesla, and I hope Tesla wins because Edison stole most of his ideas anyway originally, and nobody credits Tesla like they should. Tesla died poor by himself in a hospital, and all of his inventions were stolen by the US government, which is very, very sad. There you go. All right, and that's it for today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed some of this information. My apologies. I think I totally goofed up on having the info up on the screen. So I hope my commentary was enough for the time for that. And if it wasn't, then well, crap. It would be great if somebody had left me a comment, because apparently I couldn't see that. I didn't pay attention. I wasn't paying attention to the screen on the left side. Didn't see the man behind the curtain. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. If this is your first time to the podcast, make sure to smash up the like, subscribe to the channel, come back for next one. Did you enjoy my live hike on Saturday? Saturday I went up to Shipbuilding, and I blew out a live feed from the top of the mountain, from the top of the knife's edge. That was pretty cool. So I hope you enjoyed that. Anyway, for the 10th of January, I hope you enjoyed this one. Make sure to swing by to the crypto updates channel at 10:45. I'll be talking about crypto there. That's where the crypto component of this podcast has moved to. So I hope to see you there in about 15 minutes at 10:45. Make sure you're there. Have a good night. Bye-bye.